Now, on just one station, surveillance cameras showing a new view of a violent shootout in a parking lot of a South Florida apartment building. The barrage of bullets sending 2 people to the hospital, and it lands a rapper in jails.
Pooh Shiesty informing the court he will also change his plea from not guilty to guilty. Pooh Shiesty will take a plea. Pooh Shiesty will serve federal time.
There's been a lot of things going on in the world of rap as of late, but one story that is getting a lot of traction recently is the case of Pooh Shiesty. He's a rapper who's been under a lot of fire from both local and federal authorities for a variety of crimes that happened in the recent past, to the extent that he's been in jail awaiting a trial that was supposed to start up soon, and yet it may now be a moot point as he has apparently gone and done certain things to make sure a court case doesn't happen. We'll break it down for you, but before we do that, go ahead and do us a favor by leaving a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. The original plan. One of the big reasons why this is a major story right now is that Pooh Shiesty has been changing his mind quite a bit as of late in regards to trying to do what he feels is best for him. For example, after getting charged by the feds, more on that in a bit, he did what he could to try and get his court case delayed until next year, which was an obvious stall tactic so that he could likely try and do something to get himself out of his predicament. But then he went and pulled a 180 and decided to rescind the statement so that his trail could proceed immediately. In fact, had that gone through, it would have started on the 25th of October, meaning that either he felt confident in his defense or something else was about to happen that no one would see coming. And in fact, it was the latter option that was chosen, because out of the blue, Pooh Shiesty decided that it might be best to go and choose another path to victory. In this case, that means pleading guilty. Pooh Shiesty reportedly plans to take a plea deal in his federal robbery case. According to Rolling Stone, the 21-year-old rapper, legal name Lontrell Williams, told a judge he wishes to change his plea from not guilty to guilty.
Update on Pooh Shiesty. One of his co-defendants has indicated to the court that he wants to change his plea from not guilty to guilty.
Williams and his co-defendant Bobby Brown announced their intentions during a 5-minute court hearing on Thursday. The case stems from an October 2020 incident in which they, along with co-defendant Jaden DeRosa, allegedly shot and robbed 2 men outside Miami's Landon Hotel. We've entered into plea negotiations because there have been developments in the case that I think changed the dynamic of the case, defense lawyer Bradford Cohen told Rolling Stone. Williams, Brown, and DeRosa were indicted this year on charges of conspiracy, discharging a firearm during a violent crime, and robbery under a law regulating commerce. Authorities say the shooting occurred shortly after the defendants arrived at the hotel to purchase high-end athletic sneakers as well as marijuana. According to court documents, surveillance video captured the transaction go awry when DeRosa was allegedly seen trying to rob jewelry from one of the victims. Prosecutors say the victim was seen fighting back, prompting Williams to shoot the man in his buttocks. Just seconds later, Brown was allegedly seen shooting the second victim in the hip before the 3 defendants drove off. Investigators say that as the 3 men fled the scene, a Louis Vuitton bag filled with more than $40,000 fell out of their vehicle. Law enforcement managed to trace the money back to Williams after realizing one of the bill's serial numbers was the same as a note flashed on the rapper's Instagram account. Williams maintained his innocence, claiming the 2 shooting victims were armed during the altercation and that they were trying to push other drugs onto him. The 1017 rapper is facing a possible life sentence if convicted of the firearm charges. A change of plea hearing has not been set. So as you can see, there's something that changed that led to Pooh Shiesty going from a not guilty plea to a guilty one. So the question is, what happened? What did happen? The answer to that might honestly be a quote from the lawyer that we cited earlier. We've entered into plea negotiations because there have been developments in the case that I think changed the dynamic of the case. That's a very not so subtle way of saying that things turned against us and we needed to find a way out of what is happening. Because think about it, Pooh Shiesty has said from day one that he was innocent, right? That this wasn't what it appeared, that it was the victim's fault and so on. So why suddenly go from doing all that talk to pleading guilty of a crime, especially ones that could end up with you in jail for a long time? Remember, he could get a life sentence if he gets a certain verdict put against him. The answer is that more than likely the prosecution showed Pooh Shiesty and his defense team that they had the rapper dead to rights in one form or another, and if they wanted to get out of that life sentence range, they needed to plead guilty and take a deal. That seems to be the case of what happened, though obviously there are still some details that are very loose at the moment, including if there is a plea deal, and if there is, what would it entail in regards to what Pooh Shiesty has to do in order to get it? Help the feds? The real twist in this case might just be what happens with the potential stipulations of the plea deal if that is the path Pooh Shiesty is going to go down, because typically they would require something from the person taking the deal in order to get something in return for offering a lighter sentence. Usually, this would mean that someone like Pooh Shiesty would have to give up something like evidence or testimony against someone. In this particular case, that might mean the rapper has to give something over on his 2 co-defendants. If this sounds familiar, that would be because it's a similar thing to what 6ix9ine did when he was put into a pinch by the FBI. Granted, he went immediately for the plea deal the moment it opened up for him, but still, he went then got a deal to give him less jail time, and in return he went and ratted out everyone in his crew, the 9 Trey Bloods. He still had to serve jail time and even got out early because of the pandemic, but he was of course branded a rat and is now one of the most hated individuals in the rap community as a whole. So will Pooh Shiesty go and take that route in order to get out of his own situation? That is a question that we can't answer as of yet, because he hasn't taken the deal as of yet. But should he go and rat out one of or both his co-defendants just to get less jail time, that would affect him in a big way in the rap world, because if there's one thing that just about every hardcore rapper can agree on, it's that rats have no place in their culture. Now, to be fair, there's another way to look at this. It's possible that in return for concessions of a non-snitching nature or illegal nature, just to be clear, Pooh Shiesty could be given a lesser sentence if he pleads guilty to certain crimes, maybe because the prosecution wants to take care of the more guilty parties. It's honestly hard to say at this point. Regardless though, it's clear that something big had to change for Pooh Shiesty to change his plea and risk serious jail time. Only time and a judge will be able to tell us just how long he gets in prison, because make no mistake, no matter what deal he took, he's going to get jail time. The other arrest. Oh, you thought this was the only thing that Pooh Shiesty was going through? Not exactly, because while he was brought on by the feds, there was another arrest earlier in the year that started this long process. According to an arrest warrant obtained by the Miami Herald, Pooh Shiesty shot a security guard in the leg. The incident happened on May 30th at the King of Diamonds strip club in northwest Miami-Dade during the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Video surfaced on Instagram of him walking out of a show at the club with a weapon. As for specifics of the incident, Pooh Shiesty had just performed at the strip club on the 7000 block of Northwest 72nd Avenue. A security guard was escorting him out just before 4 a.m. through the crowd when an unknown person knocked money out of the rapper's back pocket. The crowd began excitedly trying to pick up the cash. Williams grew angry and jumped back onto the stage to see who was grabbing his money, the warrant said. The security guard saw a gun in his waistband. The guard told the defendant to hide the firearm and try to put his hand on Williams' hand to prevent him from taking the firearm out of his waistband, the warrant states. Williams, as he was being let out of the club again, took the gun out and fired one shot, hitting the guard in the ankle, according to the warrant by Miami-Dade detective Daniel Soto. The guard told police that when he saw the rapper taking the gun out, his jumping out of the way saved him from being shot in the torso. Williams fled the club with his entourage in a Cadillac Escalade, police say. So why isn't this case more of a focus than the other one, especially since it's the most recent crime? Well, alleged victim Friven Dorr, who was working security at King of Diamonds strip club when the shooting occurred, reportedly doesn't remember giving his original statement to police and blames the powerful opioid he was given in the hospital. Court documents reveal Dorr is on record saying he was given Dilaudid when he first arrived at the hospital, which rendered him unable to recount what he said to detectives. He now says the commotion in the club that night could have been caused by a ceiling fan that fell in a nearby parking garage. He also doesn't remember Pooh Shiesty aiming at him or even pulling the trigger. Dorr added he doesn't want to press charges or talk to Miami officials about the incident. So yeah, that's a thing, and it's impossible to know how that might play out, if it plays out at all, given what Pooh Shiesty is doing right now in terms of his federal case. All in all though, it's not a good time to be the rapper. The fate of Pooh Shiesty, that is the final question, because with all that's going on with him, jail time is pretty much a guarantee. How long in jail is obviously up in the air, but it's gonna be something long in most cases. So how will this affect him? Well, it'll obviously affect his music career, and it'll hinder what he can do going forward. The real question will be whether he can bounce back from everything once he gets out, and will the rap community accept him once he's free? We'll just have to wait on how this all plays out and then go from there. And there you go, everyone, a look at what's going on with the case of Pooh Shiesty and how things have suddenly taken a turn for the unexpected. Do you think that this is going to honestly work in Pooh Shiesty's favor? What do you think the potential plea deal is that could get him out of serious jail time? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.